We have managed to solve a lot of the problems the industry had, but unfortunately, the only thing that makes sense is rand and cents, or else you're not going to make money. We now are getting farmers that in the dry time, they'll plant crops. The prices started going up in all species because it was supply and demand. And it was built one brick at a time. It wasn't that we woke up one morning and we were in the game farming industry or in the game farming business. By 2011, there was so much interest in game farming, and the growth was really great. With game farming growing, game farms everywhere, and everybody being interested in animals, we all of a sudden started picking up animals that they might have been there before, but we ignored them. I'm talking about animals, I'm talking about color variants. I was involved in game capture for quite a bit of time, and at some stage we caught some wildebeest near the tulip log area. And those years, if you had no wildebeest on your farms, there was a period that the veterinary department would not allow you to put wildebeest on your farm. So we rounded up with 21 animals that didn't have a buyer for because we didn't have a... So I said, take them to the farm. So we dropped them off in Nitwitting. The following year, flying around with old Allegraph, and we see this red thing running around. And we looked at it and had a good laugh. And we said, you know, if it stays red, maybe we got something. And I had my 270 in the helicopter. I said to Alec, maybe this is not a good thing. Maybe we should shoot this damn thing. He said, no, no, don't be silly, you know, something nice. Let's see if it will stay red. It did stay red. And the following year, I had another one bought. And I was always in two minds what to do. Do I carry on breeding them? You know, my brother was a Brahman breeder, and one day a cow dropped a little dwarf Brahman calf. And even though this was one of the cutest things out, my brother made sure it gets removed from the farm to another farm, because no way he wanted to show anybody that this Brahman stud is produced a dwarf calf. Whenever we saw something different, we used to take it out. Now, all of a sudden, because of the big interest in game farming, Plug Impala started, picked them up on a farm. Now, I believe that under normal conditions, they will disappear. But when we take them and put them in a camp and breed them up, eventually that gene gets exaggerated and more of that color variance animal is produced. With the hunting, there was also a very big interest, which it was always there, for big trophy animals, top quality bulls. Because by now we became breeders. It wasn't anymore just farmers, or we became breeders. So you put a good bull into your herd. You find a good specimen, and we started now looking at a situation where instead of hunting with a overseas hunter, that 60-inch kudu, maybe we should keep it and breed with. And unfortunately, we humans like to call ourselves clever, but we very much monkey see, monkey do. And because the one monkey did it, the next one had to do it too. And we all landed up putting animals in small camps, selective breeding. And I laughed with my wife because she says to me, what are you doing, when I started with the camps? It says, you always bought animals, took them to the farm, released them on 5,000 hectares, and always believed they were there. Even if I tried to tell you they were dead, you said, no, no, they're there, we can't see them, they're hiding. And you were very happy because you always believed that the animals were there even if they were dead. He says, now you put them in a camp and you know they're dead. And you get upset because you paid a lot of money for these animals. So we have already started diverting from the original idea of game farming, that it's a simple process, easier farming, more profitable farming, into a complicated business where we start searching for the biggest animal, put him in a small area with certain females, and trying to produce bigger horns, bigger bodies, bigger, which in a way it's good. But unfortunately, we over-exaggerated it. We took every abortion of nature, whether it was a Kelly blazebuck, a golden wildebeest, a black impala, or the 20 different color springboks that we have today, bred them up, confine them so they can give us the genetics they had, and sold them to each other for a hell of a lot of money. I might be guilty of that as well, but I'm not any different to the rest of the monkeys. I'm also one of them. And obviously, if somebody wants to pay you 1.2 million for a golden wildebeest, you're not going to tell him, have it for 25,000 because the prices one day are going to drop. I think we are victims of our own doing. We made money. A lot of us made a lot of money. A lot of others made not so much money. But the sad part is that eventually we are hurting a lot of people. And we are hurting a lot of people not because the industry is bad. We are hurting a lot of people because we made them buy animals at very high prices without taking into consideration that is there enough time for them to recover? And unfortunately, when you lose a finger, it's already damaged. You still got your hand, but you're handicapped. The reason why you got 5 fingers is because you need 5 fingers. And we have in the game industry now started losing not a finger, but perhaps a whole hand. And I believe we'll recover. I believe we'll have to go back to basics. I believe that game farming is a much more profitable farming process than any other farming. That is not a miracle. It's perhaps a miracle in the sense that it can give you a lot more pleasure than cattle farming. You can invite your friends to your cattle farm, but it's boring. You invite them to your game farm, and then you go around the corner and there's a kudu. You go next door, there's an impala. You go down the road, there's a hartebeest. There's a giraffe. And then you go a little bit further and there's a beautiful, majestic sable standing there. And you might even now be able to tell your friend, you know, I paid a lot of money for that sable and now it's worth little. But it's still a beautiful animal to have. And I think we'll get back to it. We have to get back to basics, back to reality. It's an animal that's got to be used. Never mind what color the skin is outside. There's only so many pounds or so many kilos of meat inside. And we can produce a lot more kilos of meat by using game animals than domesticated livestock. And for that reason, our industry will recover again and it will go forward.